Hello and welcome. Hello, everyone. Welcome to March. Time flies so fast. Today is March 4th, and we are starting this whole month focusing on emotional intelligence. I want to introduce you to what it is and certain tools that you might want to take as you introduce yourself and try to deal with different emotional circumstances. So the next 4 weeks, the next 4 workshops, I'll be focusing on emotional intelligence and we'll follow that in different angles. So let me start with introducing you to our topic today. So introduction to emotional intelligence, or as we abbreviate that as EI. Emotional intelligence is the ability to actually recognize, understand, and even manage our own emotions, but not just ours, but also others, those of others. In both personal and professional context, EI, emotional intelligence, plays a crucial role in our relationship, decision making, and overall well being. Let's see how it plays a role in personal life. In personal life, EI helps us navigate our emotions effectively, leading to better self-awareness, healthier relationships, and even increased resilience in the face of challenges. In professional settings, on the other hand, emotional intelligence is essential for effective leadership, teamwork, conflict resolution, and even customer relations. Throughout this workshop, I'm going to introduce you to the 4 components of emotional intelligence, which are self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. And throughout this month, we'll go into little details on how to manage each one of them. By understanding these components and giving you some practices on how you can actually practically use those strategies, you will be equipped to enhance your EI skills and achieve greater success in various aspects of life. I want to start with those 4 components. And the first component is self-awareness. Self-awareness is the foundational component of emotional intelligence. It is focusing on recognizing our emotions and understanding their impact on our thoughts, behavior, and relationship. It involves being mindful of our feelings and various situations and acknowledging how they influence our actions and decision making. I want to go over some components some aspects that relate to self-awareness. First, identify the emotion. Self-aware individual is able to um, pinpoint on their actual emotions or even label their actual emotions accurately. They can differentiate between subtle nuances of emotions, such as distinguish between frustration versus disappointment, or excitement versus anxiety. Understanding triggers. An individual that is self-aware can recognize any situation that causes a situation, an event, an interaction that triggers a specific emotion. It is important to identify these triggers because an individual that can do that can better manage their reaction and response, which can lead to constructive outcomes. Assessing emotional awareness is also very important because some person that can be self-aware and reflect on how we respond or that individual responds emotionally to different situations. It involves examining whether our emotions or emotional reactions are appropriate and adaptive, or if they hinder by our ability of effectively navigate challenges and relationship. It's also very important to recognize emotional patterns. Self-aware individuals can detect recurring emotional patterns and tendencies in their behaviors. If you understand those patterns, you can proactively address them and address those underlying issues and make positive changes to improve the emotional well-being and relationship. Acknowledging impact to others. Self-awareness extends beyond recognizing your own emotions. It actually is important to understand how our emotional expression and behavior affects others. It involves emphasizing with perspectives and feelings of others and adjusting our interactions according to promoting positive outcomes. So when you develop your self-awareness, it is required to be able to reflect and have your mindfulness through some practices. And I'll go over those practices such as journaling, meditation, seek feedback, and so on. I'll go over that in a little bit. Self-management is another component, which is the ability to regulate and control one's emotions, impulses, and behavior in different situations. It involves maintaining the composure, staying focused, and effectively managing stress. Even in challenges circumstances, being able to self-manage can really help regulate your emotion and behavior. Some of the key aspects for that is emotional regulation. So when you self-manage, when you are an individual that can self-manage your emotions effectively, you can prevent being overwhelmed by intensive feelings such as anger, frustrations, anxiety. The strategies of calming yourself can actually help you calm down those triggering situations. Self-management involves resistance, impulse reactions, and making thorough decisions that can really help you even when you're exercising very strong emotions. It requires pausing from the act of what's happening and consider the consequences, which you can then choose and align for your long-term goals. We'll talk more about that later. Self-managed individuals are flexible and adaptable in their responses and changes of uncertainty. They can adjust their behavior and attitudes in response to shifting circumstances, demonstrating resilience and resourcefulness in navigating challenges. Believe it or not, self-managed individuals include effective organizing and prioritizing tasks, also known as time management. Time management is really important. It's when you localize time and resources effectively, so then you meet the deadlines and you're being effective. It involves setting goals, which we talked about it several times already, creating action plan, maintaining focus, achieving desired outcomes while you balancing all the competing demands. Self-managed individuals have coping mechanism and stress reduction techniques to mitigate the negative effects of stress on their well-being and performance. They practice self-care, which is very important, exercising, relaxation techniques, and seeking social support in order to be able to maintain not just your mental health, but also physical health. Both of these go hand to hand together. Assertiveness is also very important for self-management in a community because it's expressing thoughts and expressing them in a way that the boundaries are clear, respectful, and it involves advocating for oneself while considering the feeling and perspectives of others. When you have that, it really leads to constructive interaction and conflict resolution. When you develop your self-management skill, it requires self-awareness. It requires a lot of self-discipline and even consistent practices. I am going to give you some ways to practice self-management towards the end of this presentation. By implementing those strategies, you can lead yourself to greater effectiveness and well-being in personal and professional life. Such things that you can use are, again, mindfulness, goal setting. All of these really repeat time after time again, because they really do make a difference in your self-management. The next one is social awareness. Social awareness is the ability to understand and empathize. We talked about empathy empathize with others, with their emotions, perspective, and their needs. It involves being attuned to the social cues, reading nonverbal communication, and recognize the dynamic of interpersonal interactions. In one of the presentations that I had, I can't remember if it was December or maybe January, we talked about communication skills. One of the most important communication skill is empathy. When a social aware individual possesses empathy, the capacity to understand and to even share the feeling with others really help, because they can put themselves in other person's shoes, recognizing and validating their emotions, which foster connection and support. Social awareness also includes active listening. When you pay attention to verbal and even nonverbal cues during a communication, it involves being present and asking clarified questions, demonstrating genuine interest in the understanding of what the speaker is trying to convey to you. Social aware individuals can see situations from multiple viewpoints. They consider other people's experiences, backgrounds, beliefs. They recognize the different perspectives as well and enrich understanding and in order to promote collaboration, even in the presence of disagreements. Social awareness encompasses cultural competence, respecting and valuing diversity in perspectives. Some people have different point of views, so recognizing the impact of their point of view or even cultural differences, cultural norms, really will help to adapt one's behavior according to whatever that mutual aspect might be. Social aware individuals are skilled at navigating conflicts and resolving disagreements constructively. They can de-escalate tension, which is very important, facilitate open dialogue, and find mutually benefited solution by considering the needs and emotions of all parties involved. This is what we call a win-win situation, as we discussed before. Always seek for a resolution that benefits not just one side, but both when possible. Social awareness extends to recognizing one's role and responsibilities with broader social context. It involves empathy, as we discussed, towards the different groups. It also involves advocating for justice and equality and taking actions to address social issues and promote positive changes. Developing social awareness requires curiosity, openness, and willingness to engage with diverse perspective and expertise. When practicing empathy, practicing active listening, and cultural differences, individuals can really enrich their ability to understand others' emotions and perspectives. This is important to foster deeper connection and more meaningful relationships in both personal and professional settings. And lastly, relationship management. It's a skill of building and maintaining healthy connections with others. It involves fostering positive interactions, resolving conflicts effectively, and nurturing beneficial relationship. Some key aspects of that is definitely communication. Effective communication is an essential key for relationship management. It involves expressing oneself clearly and effectively, listening to others' perspective as well. Good communicators are able to convey their thoughts, feelings, and intentions in respect and constructively manner. They can foster understanding and trust. Conflict resolution is part of relationship management, because relationship management includes the ability to navigate conflicts and disagreements in a constructive way. Skilled conflict resolvers can identify an underlying issue, listen to opposite viewpoints, and work towards mutually accepted solution that preserve the integrity of the actual relationship. Building and maintaining healthy connections often requires collaboration and teamwork. Relationship managers can effectively work with others towards sharing goals, leveraging each other's strength and perspectives in order to achieve a mutual success. That again is a win-win situation. Trust is the foundation of strong relationship, and relationship managers cultivate trust through honesty, reliability, and consistency in their words and actions. They follow through on commitments. They respect confidentiality, demonstrate integrity in their interaction, and really do honor their word. They also practice understanding of others' perspective and emotions in crucial conversation or in effective relationship management. Empathy or empathic individuals are able to put themselves in other people's shoes and validate their feeling and experience, which really fosters connective and mutual support. Setting healthy boundaries and assessing someone's respectfully is very important for the aspect of relationship. It involves communicating one's needs, preferences, and limits clearly, while also respecting the boundaries of others, leading to balance and respectful interaction. Relationship managers acknowledge and appreciate the contribution of others. They foster a positive and supportive environment. They provide feedback and recognition for achievements, promoting motivation and morale within the relationship. Everybody wants to feel appreciated, and relationship managers know how to do this, make someone feel appreciated. By developing relationship management skills, individuals can cultivate strong and meaningful connections with others, leading to enhanced collaboration, satisfaction, and succeed in both personal and professional relationship. So if you understand and cultivate these 4 components of EI, you can really enhance your interpersonal skills. You can navigate through social dynamics much more effectively and definitely achieve a lot more success in personal and professional lives, which we all want to succeed so much in both aspects. Let's talk about some practical strategies. Some of these practical strategies you've heard before from my previous workshops, and if you want to go look at it, feel free to just go and look for those specific skills. Mindfulness, self-reflection, mindfulness practice really helps in relaxing yourself, calming yourself, and really regulating your emotions. I have gone through different breathing techniques, different meditation techniques, journaling, which I'll talk about in a bit. All of these really increase your self-awareness and regulate your emotion. Emotional journaling keeps a journal to track your emotions. When you see something that triggers you, write it down. See the different reactions you get throughout the day. Find the things that trigger you, and then reflect on the different patterns. It always helps to know what exactly triggers you and what exactly causes you to react a certain way. What are certain things that you see throughout the day? Role playing, that is more important to do when you actually practice empathy and empathic listening. It's very important to understand the perspective of others. And during the situation where emotion is involved, it's very hard to practice at the time of when that happens. So role playing is really an important skill to do. And I'll give you some ways to do that in a bit. Active listening exercise, practicing actively listening. We all speak to respond. A lot of us really just want to say something just to say something. So if you just try to communicate by just really listening, genuinely listening to the person without the urge to respond. And active listening just means that you would ask questions throughout the conversation and really engage to make sure you understand what that individual is trying to convey to you. Feedback, seek for feedback from people that you trust, from coworkers, from mentors, from colleagues. Those feedback, constructive feedbacks are actually important. They're important to give you an opportunity to grow, to correct, to self-improve. So don't be afraid of feedback, even constructive feedback. It's always good to know how you can improve yourself or improve the service that you're providing just by receiving what other people think of that. Stress management technique, learn and practice self reduction of stress. So deep breathing, muscle relaxation, or even exercise can act as a great self stress management technique. Conflict resolution workshop. I am offering certain workshops to help you with conflict resolution. We've done that before. This is called Crucial Conversation, which I work through with the book club as well. There are so many different ways that you can teach yourself on how to deal with crucial conversations, how you can respond to people, how you can resolve a conflict in a constructive way. There are certain exercises you can do that build your empathic listening. Engage in activities, promote empathy. Always try to get your other person's view and other person's experience. You never know what the other person goes through to trigger whatever it is triggering at the moment. Emotional regulation strategies. There are many different emotional management techniques. Exercise is a great way to regulate your emotions, both physical and mental. Create different expressions, and it helps you support. If it helps if you get a support from a friend, a therapist. All of these are really strategies that can help you regulate your emotions. And of course, continuous learning. As you learn, you will learn more. Reading books about emotional intelligence. And at the end of the month, I will summarize one book that I'm currently reading on emotional intelligence, because it does give you different perspectives and deepens your understanding to really help yourself refine those skills. There are seminars that you can attend, workshops that you can attend to generate that skill. So when you incorporate all of these practical strategies into your daily life, you can really effectively develop and enhance your emotional intelligence skill. It leads to much greater self-awareness, improvement of relationship, and even enhance your overall well-being. There are several techniques that I want to just cover briefly that I already mentioned, but I want to make sure that you have it here if you're note taking as you go. Mindfulness meditation, set aside time of the day, especially if you know that you're stressed towards a certain time of day, and that happens through journaling. Set aside some time that you can practice increasing your self-awareness and meditating or doing mindfulness through breathing. Journaling, as I mentioned before, really helps keep daily journal by reflecting your thoughts, feelings, experiences, things that trigger, things that can help you enhance your self-awareness and provide insights in order for you to be able to adjust and actually work through those triggers as you go throughout your day. It helps to regularly check in with yourself throughout the day and assess your emotional state. If you feel that you're too overwhelmed, if you feel that you need, some time to do certain tasks, take the time and be aware of your surrounding and how you feel. There are certain tools of self-assessment, and I'll give you a couple of questions before we end today, that can help you to test your personal and emotional intelligence. That would actually help you to strengthen certain areas, focusing on certain things through your self-development journey. Stress management techniques. We have a lot of different stress management technique. Deep breathing is one. Muscle relaxation, visualization that can help you stay calm and really compose in a stressful situation. And all of these are really essential to maintain self-control and emotional balance. Establish a routine. When you create a daily routine and specific habits, it really helps you support your well-being and emotional health because you know exactly what your day looks like. Um, it could include regular exercise throughout the day or several times a week. Just know what your schedule is. Time to relax. When is your time throughout the day that you take time for yourself? Time for self-care, which is really important. Self-care is one of the most important things to clear your emotional imbalance and really prepare yourself for a much better self-regulation. Even practicing self-compassion, be kind and compassionate towards yourself, not just towards others, especially when times are difficult or when you feel that you have failed at a specific task. Treat yourself with the same understanding that you would treat someone else, that you would support a friend, or if somebody else that you know faces a similar challenge. Self-compassion really helps resilience and enhance self-management skills. And of course, as I mentioned, continuing learning is so important and so crucial that personal growth always seeks out for resources. So look for workshops, look for certain life coaches or anything that can help you continue learn about something that you know, because when you incorporate those techniques in your daily life, you really enhance yourself, self-awareness, as well as self-management skills, because that would lead to a much greater emotional intelligence and your overall being. How would you improve your social awareness? I said that I will give you those tips. Let me just, yeah. How would you improve your social awareness? So social awareness includes how you practice active listening. So practice active listening, see how you would focus fully listening to the other person without interruptions. Don't respond until you actually think that they are done saying what they had to say. Reflect back to make sure that you actually heard them correctly. Pay attention to their nonverbal cues. When you observe the person and how they talk, those cues provide specific and valuable insights on how other people feel and their emotional well-being. So definitely look into those nonverbal cues. Communicate empathy, as we mentioned before, really put yourself in other people's shoes. Empathy gives you a deep connection and mutual understanding. You can achieve so much more when you have this foundation of positive relationship. If you want to encourage a dialogue, ask open-ended questions, which facilitate much deeper connection because you're asking a question that you actually invite others to share their thoughts, their feelings, their expertise, and therefore you're demonstrating actual genuine interest in what they have to say, and therefore mutual engagement. There are so many other strategies that I want to go through, but I want to touch on another aspect, which is giving you some examples of real life scenarios for application. I want to give you a few real life scenarios, and maybe they are not exactly what you are experiencing, but try to apply these in the different aspects. So let's say workplace conflict resolution. Let's say there's a scenario where you have two team members that have different opinions on how to approach a project. And that leads to tension and conflict. How would you, as a manager or as a coworker or as part of this conflict, will resolve this? The best way in here is really use active listening, because you want to understand each person's perspective. You want to emphasize with each of their concerns, whether you are facilitating this conflict or you are part of this conflict. You want to make sure that you get a constructive dialogue to find a compromise or a solution that can address both viewpoints. That conflict resolution or a scenario can also arise from customer service interaction. Let's get a scenario of a customer that is upset about a service, a product, or some issue that you have provided and expressing a frustration over the phone. And we all have experienced that throughout our business time. So how would you deal with something like that? So again, practice empathy, acknowledge the customer's emotions, say that you understand how they feel and that you are sorry for how they feel or how they got to get whatever that situation is. Actively listen to their concern and even offer a sincere apology and a solution to resolve that issue, because that would always restore customer satisfaction. Even if sometimes you have to offer something that is a loss for you, offer additional time of service, offer a refund if it is feasible, offer something that would leave the customer satisfied and be able to bring that customer back, because really it's important to maintain this customer relationship. Family disagreements, so many different family disagreements. Let's take a scenario of siblings. Let's say that we have siblings that are arguing over household chores, leading to escalating tension and resentment. If you apply perspective taking by considering each sibling viewpoint, and that of course would be their parent or an older sibling, just take each of their viewpoints and needs, facilitate a meeting if needed to actually discuss this concern and establish clear communication, and negotiate fair solution that would address everyone's responsibility and preferences. It is important to resolve conflict as soon as they arise. Do not wait until they escalate further or you get a conflict that is much longer. Networking event conversation. Let's suppose that you attend a network event and you want to establish connections and build a business relationship. How would you go about that using those emotional intelligence skills? Practice social awareness by observing nonverbal cues. You want to engage in active listening during conversations, not eardropping, but actually actively listening to a conversation. Show genuine interest in others' experience and expertise. Ask open-ended questions, all the things that we spoke about communication. Find some common ground that would help you guys to connect with that other individual. Performance review discussion, that's more for conducting a performance review on an employee or something that you have to do, like some kind of checkup on an employee, someone who was struggling and had some certain aspects in their job. All of the reviews, performance reviews that are done. If you are the one doing that performance review, use empathy to understand the employee's perspective. Why is he not performing as well? What are some challenges that they might be facing? Maybe there's something that you can provide a specific feedback for on an area to improve. Or maybe you can collaborate and create an action plan that would help that individual to grow. A conflict with a friend. Let's say there's a scenario where you have a disagreement with a friend over a misunderstanding or a difference of opinions. So how would you deal with something like that? Practice emotional regulation by managing your own emotions first, because then you avoid reacting in response. Approach the situation with empathy. Understand that the person is communicating with you, so communicate openly and honestly and work together to find a resolution. If you add your emotion to it, you are actually escalating a scenario that might be able to be resolved pretty quick with some empathy. Leadership challenge. Leading a team is really not easy. And especially not easy when you have a challenge or uncertainty, if you have restructure or transition. So in order for you to be able to be a good leader, a good leader will demonstrate empathy. He would be transparent and open, addressing the team members with the concerns and even the fears, actively listening to their feedback, their ideas, Put them in there to be able to actually give you their own opinions. Encourage collaboration and participation in decision making. It's not a big deal if somebody gives you a suggestion on what to do, even if you are their manager. Sometimes other people have good opinions. So just listen to what others are saying, because you all want to have teamwork, and team members have to work as a team. So by applying those skills, you can really, and these are real life scenarios with some tweaks, but individuals can really navigate through challenges, build much stronger relationships, and achieve so much more positive outcome in both personal and professional aspect. There are tests and there are certain interactions, exercises, and assessments that you can do. These are just 3 examples, and throughout the weeks, the next few weeks, I'm going to go in much more detail. Emotional wheel activity, it's an activity where you provide the people, and of course, it depends what you're doing with this, whether you're a team leader or just doing it as fun or as a workshop. It's just an activity that provides a different range of emotions and asks them to reflect on their recent experience, whether that could be even a customer service approach, just to see what the experience was and how it can be differently impacted with those different comments. Empathy role playing, as I discussed before, you can play or practice empathy with even your household members, your good friends, and that is a skill that you can develop and apply in business, in relationships, in any kind of relationship. Some people are just seeking for understanding from others, and sometimes just presenting empathy might resolve a big conflict. Just by you knowing that somebody acknowledges you and understands how you feel and understands what you are going through really can make a big difference in conflict resolution and helping your use of your emotional intelligence. Self-reflection journaling, as I mentioned before, really write it down. Write it down. Sometimes when it's written, you can definitely see a lot more, understand a lot more, and reflect a lot more. If you see how what your triggers are, if you see the things that you go throughout the day, you can basically help yourself eliminate those triggers or reduce the triggers or even prepare for those triggers. There are so many other different ways of doing exercises. I want to prompt you to questions that you can ask yourself and identify your strengths and areas for improvement. And we're going to keep going over that in the next couple of weeks. But just think about this. For self-awareness, on a scale of 1 to 5, rate your ability to recognize and label your emotions accurately. How often do you reflect on your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors? Do you tend to notice when your emotions influence your decisions and actions? In other words, try to look at yourself and your ability to react to certain things. Self-management. For self-management, rate your ability to regulate your emotions in challenging situations on a scale of 1 to 5. How often do you practice stress management technique? How often do you do breathing, mindfulness? Do you find it easy to control impulse reactions or behavior? Rate yourself 1 to 5. Social awareness. Rate your ability to understand other people's emotions and perspective in a scale of 1 to 5. How often do you actively listen to others? How often do you pay attention to their nonverbal cues? Do you find it easy to empathize with others and their situations and see their situations from their point of views? Or is it something that is harder for you to do? And lastly, for the relationship management, rate your ability to build and maintain positive relationship with others on a scale of 1 to 5. How often do you effectively communicate your thoughts, feelings, and needs in a relationship. Could be any relationship. Do you feel comfortable resolving conflicts and negotiating mutually beneficial solution with others? Do you feel comfortable getting a win-win solution, or do you always look for a win-lose? So use that quiz. There's no right or wrong. Okay, and there's no judgment because you're doing it for yourself. You want to know which areas you want to improve. And if it is important for you to achieve good relationships and have emotional skills as well as emotional intelligence, working on these 4 parts of emotional intelligence is really important. So assess yourself first, track your progress, grow your emotional intelligence. If you have any questions, comments, if you're interested in any of those workshops, feel free to reach out to me and I'll be able to guide you further. It is very important that you understand those 4 pillars, I can say, of emotional intelligence and really see what you can do on your end to improve those emotional intelligence and interactions in your everyday life. Until our educational journey crosses again, always remember that learning is a gateway to a bright future. And I'm looking forward to see you all next week as we continue emotional intelligence topic. And hopefully some of you will be able to practice and assess themselves so they will be able to know what else they need in order to improve their emotional intelligence. Bye guys, see you next week.